Just went through my first year officially divorced, and after gaining full custody of our 5 children, I finally learned the complete truth during our custody fight. A little background as it is relevant. I 36 million, meet ex-wife 35F. Back in 2007 in our high school history class, where the first week of class she hit me in the face with a hand lotion tube when trying to pass it to the girl next to me from across the room. I hated her during high school because she never apologized. Then in college 2009, we meet again in an English class, ESL, with only 3 students. During the class, she invited me to sit next to her to help her with homework. We started dating in 2010 after I made sure she ended her relationship with a car mechanic that she suspected was sleeping with her mother, before I even considered dating her. She was my first girl, and it was very emotional for me as I was kind of saving myself. But weeks later, we found out she passed me an STD, chlamydia. I was inexperienced and asymptomatic. We found out after she started complaining, which I believed was normal for a new couple of teenagers that was being together up to 3 times a day. In 2011, I started a career as an IT in a local clinic and became very close friend with the vice president/HR and the hiring manager. This allowed me to help her get a job in the clinic and help her escalate fast from receptionist to assistant clinic manager. During this time, I gifted her a cell phone under my cell plan that during one of our dates she cracked the screen. I offered to repair it without even worrying, and while I was repairing the phone, I found out that she was texting/flirting with a guy as she got notifications. When confronted, she excused herself, saying that she believed it was me trying to test her loyalty, impersonating a different phone number. I didn't believe her and started distancing myself. When she noticed my distance, she asked for 1-month break that I immediately agreed. But 1 week after the break, she showed up to my room crying and imploring to get back, and to my surprise, I agreed and continued to a normal relationship. This is important later. In 2013, she told me that she was pregnant, and after getting the news, something in me got triggered and decided to do things right, to be a good partner, to be a good father, and to be a good human. I traded my brand new Roan and got a new Maxima so we could go to her checkups comfortably. I got a brand new house 3 months before our first princess was born in May 2014, furnished it to her liking. She asked me to be a stay-at-home mom, and life was amazing for me. Although when we shared the news with her mother, she told my ex-wife that she just had ruined my life. But her father and my parents took the news in a very positive way. Even with the bad reception of the great news, I felt on top of the world with my newborn baby and my Florcita, little flower. Then we got married in 2015 as I wanted to do things right, not in the right order, but try to do things right. Late 2015, we started planning for another kid, as we were thinking it would be great for our newborn to have somebody to play with, and late in the year, we found out that she was pregnant again. I was in heaven as I just opened at the time a consulting business, and now we were expecting another baby. On her first checkup, she found out that we were expecting twins, but when she went to share the news to my work office, she was uncontrollable and crying. My coworkers later told me that maybe it was because she was nervous, and they asked me to comfort her the most possible. The twin girls were born in 2016, and their health was not very good, so after going through this challenge by her side, I became Christian and felt more connected to my ex-wife than ever, as we were able to successfully overcome this hardship by relying on each other. I learned to love her to a deeper level. With her flaws and everything, I learned to love her as a human, not just as my wife. Every day on my way to work, I would feel the sunshine in my face and be absolutely grateful to God for the life He had given me, for the partner that was by my side, and of course for my beautiful girls that by a miracle became healthy very fast. Life was good until 2018, when ex-wife started becoming more irritable for nothing, so I decided to invest myself even more. I tried to be more considerate of her emotions, and for being a mother of 3 young and very active girls. I started hiring a cleaning lady to help her in the house, as I was already driving home sometimes during lunch to make her breakfast, throw some laundry in the washer, and to play with my babies in the living room, and the weekends I would do all cleaning. Late 2019, I suggested to have some psychological therapy as I knew that she came from a dysfunctional family and understood that she could have been dealing with postpartum trauma, resentment, and childhood trauma. This is what saved me for later. This gave me the truth I'm talking in the title. Then in 2020, the pandemic hit us and she started experiencing more problems. We went 9 months without intimacy, and I just gave her space as I saw she was not taking the lockdown well. At least everything else was good as I was considered first responder, so I continued working, and my side business grew more, supplementing my income very good. After 9 months of nothing while sleeping next to her, I was craving her skin, her aroma, her taste, and I believe she felt guilty as I only voiced my needs once during the 9 months. So the night The Mandalorian season finale aired, we finally were back together. I remember because she cuddled with me while I was watching it in the living room, and one thing led to another. Ironically, she got pregnant again by that single time together, as there was no intimacy later. This pregnancy was also tough because after the 4 months she had to have absolute rest, but my mother and sisters were there to take care of her while I was at work. Another set of twins, but now I got my boy finally and my lovely little girl. After the delivery, she came back to normal pretty fast, and now she was taking medication prescribed by her psychiatrist. But now it was a very different normal. She started having more pronounced mood swings and now would start yelling at all the children, even the newborns. On April 2022, I come home and I find her crying on the bed. When I asked her the reason, she confessed the most horrific thing that could ever come out of her mouth. She told me that for some time she has been thinking and seeing herself ending the lives of our kids with a butcher knife, then bathing in their blood, and to finally end herself. My first reaction was to tell her that she was not going to end nobody's life, that I was there to help her, but we needed help together. I contacted our pastor and he spoke to her and was constantly visiting our house or sending church sisters to aid in the house and help her pray to deal with those ideations. But she started becoming a different person as time went. She started doing more exercise, dressing more, getting fake nails, going out with her sister and girlfriends. May 19, 2023, she told me that she was going to get her nails done with her sister-in-law house at 9 p.m. I didn't think much of the request, so I gave her the keys of the sports car, but it worried me because she never drives at night. 30 minutes after she left, I called her to check and sent me directly to voicemail, called 3 more times and the same thing. I started getting worried, thinking that she had an accident, so I checked the car's GPS location and status. It was parked in the Civic Center Park. I texted her asking why is the car at the park at that time at night when I had more than 20,000 of network tools in the trunk. And when she started typing, I called her. She picked up and I could hear that she was in a muscle car by the loud exhaust like a Mustang or a Charger. She just told me that she was on her way to the sister-in-law house, but was just hanging out with her friend Jessica. The next day she told me that she was just smoking weed while driving around the city, but it raised all my alarms. I just told her that if she was cheating, I would let her go without a fight. Just let me know, as I don't want another STD in my life. June 2, 2023, out of thin air, she approaches me to tell me that she was applying for a job and that she wanted divorce or a break. I didn't took it well and was the first time in my life that I cried. I could not process her request, but all the red flags hit me like a truck. Everything made sense now, and I was having a hard time processing her request. At the end, and after about 2-3 hours of me crying in our bedroom, I told her that I could only give her 1-month break, but no more. I only lasted 1 day out of home as I could not endure not giving my kids a good morning kiss. being welcomed from work by them, and tucking them in bed every night. But from that day, I started overcompensating for everything. I got her a week-long cruise to try to respark our marriage, shopping sprees for her clothing, makeup, and shoes, tickets for a concert in San Diego for her sister and her sister-in-law, including a nice hotel stay. During this week, I felt that I was extinguishing myself as I tried to win her back. Then on June 9, 2023, before the night of her concert, I asked her if she had all the cards in cell phone Apple Pay, in case she needed them. She handed me her phone and I updated everything. Something made no sense because she didn't have Messenger installed, but a couple hours earlier, she sent me a grocery list. I decided to install it and boom, I found her talking to about 5 guys. She was sitting next to me the whole time, so I started checking everything I could, and I found her talking shit about me, how she desired some guys. But the highlight was when I found out that she had been sending pictures of our 4 girls, 9, 7, 7, 1.5 yo, and little man 1.5 yo, with GPS coordinates of our house to a guy in Pakistan. She was exposing our children to a possible predator across the world. I just took my phone and started taking pictures of her phone, but when she saw me, she snatched her phone and went running to our bedroom, locking herself there. She deleted everything, but I had a few pictures. Everything switched for me. I was no longer looking for her approval. I was angry. I felt sorry for her. I still had a little hope that somehow she was manipulated and it was just a mistake. This mindset only lasted from June 9 until Father's Day, June 19, 2023, when after dinner, she told me out of her own mouth that there was another man, that he has always been there since we started dating, that she was never happy by my side, that she maintained communication with him, especially after every pregnancy, that she was ready to go with him because he just finished his college. Something in me broke. I remember actually feeling physical pain in my chest. From one second to another, all my good feelings for her were dead. I just wanted nothing to do with her. I didn't want to be related to her in any way or form. She stopped being Mama Bear. She stopped being my Florcita. She was just another girl that deserved nothing more from me. That night I started sleeping in my little boy's bedroom. No more asking her, no more waiting for her, and especially no more intimacy with her. I came to this conclusion after this kind of cold resolve filled my chest. I will protect my kids from at all cost, and I will not make any mistake. I will not give her ammo against me was my motto. She filed for divorce August 1 and I got served August 3. After she filed, she became more open. She would leave on Friday afternoon and come back on Sunday afternoon. She would demand money to put gas on her minivan to get her nails done, money for her belly dance classes, and money to keep paying the cleaning lady. I decided to keep the status quo but no longer fund her lifestyle, so I told her to get a job. I became methodical, calculating, and cautious. I didn't leave the house, although she would demand that I would leave almost every day. I finally got my divorce decree on May 2024 after 4 hearings where we both self-represented, and her dragging everything in attempts to keep the house, keep the sports car and the minivan, and leave in the streets milking me of money while only allowing me to see my kids every other weekend. On March 28, after our last hearing, she decided to go to a week-long vacation to Mexico with her lover. I used this week to take everything mine and settle with my kids at my parents' home. I got 50/50 custody, 1 week her and 1 week me, $132 child support, and $900 alimony for 32 months. I sold the sports car and my 2-seater daily driver to get a new Tahoe and transport my kids properly. Because she told the judge that she wanted the minivan to transport the kids and the sports car for the weekends when she didn't have the kids. I also got court-ordered DNA testing for all my kids, given that she kept in touch with her lover throughout the whole relationship. They are all mine, thank God. The arrangement of 50/50 week on week off went good until August 4, when by text message she told me that she would not hand out the kids to me anymore. She changed them from school and didn't share where they were located. I could not see my kids for more than 2 months, and when I texted my older girls, they would tell me that they missed me and sometimes would tell me that they were scared of me. It was the ex impersonating my kids. Every week I would file a police report for failure to follow court orders. I would not react to her taunts until October 4 that I secured a family attorney. But not just any attorney, but the best and most ruthless in the whole county that got me emergency custody of my kids. On October 8, the judge granted us the emergency order, and that afternoon, after a 3-hour standoff with 4 police officers and the server at her apartment, I finally got to see my kids again. At the first hearing of the emergency orders, she showed up to court with one of her friends for moral support, but no legal representation. I was backed up by the mountain of evidence of her being in contempt and by my family attorney. She got ripped to shreds by the judge and my attorney. At the end, my attorney requested her psychological, medical, and financial records to understand her motives for hiding the kids, and the judge granted everything. It is my strong belief that the friend that was with her during the hearing is the girl that introduced my ex to ayahuasca and toad poison, along with my ex's AP getting her into weed, THC, and cocaine. Just recently got her psychological records, and this is how I discovered everything about the ex-wife. How she found her lover having sexual relations with her best friend in her apartment, and this triggered a panic attack that led to withholding the kids. Why her lover left her after finding she didn't keep the house, cars, or big money in the form of CS or alimony as they were planning, but not before spending all of her money from the marital house. How she wanted to make me mad to react bad and get me in jail or a restriction order. How her lover and girlfriend got her hooked on drugs, and now she is exploring drugs like ayahuasca, toad's poison bufus, cocaine, weed, THC gummies, and vapes. How to this day in July 2025, she already spent 95% of the marital house proceeds, close to $70,000, since September 2024. How she was manipulating our kids to be afraid of me. I found out that she was thinking about ending our children since 2019 because she saw our kids as an obstacle to be with her affair partner. This no longer makes me angry, but makes me feel sorry and pity for her. She gambled everything for a person that dropped her like a sack or rocks at the first chance. To this day, I'm still waiting for trial, and I'm pretty sure that I will keep 100% custody of the kids. Due to my attorney requesting a hair follicle drug test and the landslide of evidence, but I know my kids need their mother in their lives. I recently got a plot of land for each one of my kids, and pretty soon I will close on a new house. But learning that my whole marriage was a lie, that while I was learning to love somebody's soul and accept their faults, the other person was trash talking about me. That the most beautiful moments in my life so far were tainted by a lie. Making me doubt about my own children-blood relation has been very challenging, to the point that I don't want to get in a relationship to any other woman again. Today marks what would have been the 10-year wedding anniversary for me, 32 million, and my ex, 31F. We met in middle school, began dating in high school, and got married shortly after college. We have 3 kids together. My ex, Anna, spent the early years of the marriage as a stay-at-home mom. As the years went on, she became increasingly bored with that and eventually restarted her college education. With 1 semester to go, she decided the major she was pursuing no longer interested her, and she dropped out of college. Instead, she began working as a waitress in a local restaurant. Her best friend, Monica, 38F, also worked there. She enjoyed the work and seemed to be doing a good job with it. She was making friends for the first time in years, her depression was getting better, and it seemed to be a positive change in her life. I work full-time, and with the well-paying serving shifts taking place at night and on weekends, I took on additional responsibilities at home so she could work those shifts. I adjusted my work schedule to have more flexibility for taking the kids to slash from school or to be home with them on random days off. I took them to all their weekly sports practices and after-school activities. I took on the majority of the cleaning, shopping, and laundry. Anna had some tough years with depression, including one known suicide attempt, so I was happy to take on more familial responsibilities if it allowed her to pursue something that finally provided happiness. After a few months working at the restaurant, Anna became close friends with a few female coworkers. Around the same time, she also started telling me more about her work stories with Dan. Dan was a 24 million line cook at the restaurant. At first, they were normal work stories. Funny things that happened at work, how they reacted to rude customers, the latest drama from a workplace that employs a lot of young, drama-filled people. But as time went on, she started to tell me about how Dan was hitting on her and telling her she was pretty. We had conversations where I shared that I felt their relationship was crossing a line, and I asked that she shut down any non-professional interactions he had with her. As the months went on, I stopped hearing about Dan, and I was assured that he no longer was hitting on her. As the months went on, our marriage declined. We no longer made time to date each other. We stopped enjoying spending time with one another. I didn't outright know she was cheating on me, but I knew our relationship wasn't the same as it used to be. Then in March of this year, she didn't come home one night after work. It had become a regular occurrence that she would go out for drinks with coworkers after their shifts ended. For quite a while, I was happy for her because it seemed she had made some genuine friends to hang out with. The night she didn't come home from work, I had fallen asleep on the couch while trying to wait up for her. In the early hours of the morning, I called her phone 3 times, wondering where she could be and if she was okay. On the third call, she briefly answered, informed me she drank too much and stayed at Monica's house, said she'd be home in the morning, and then ended the call. Monica had been friends with Anna for several years. We went on double dates with Monica and her ex-husband, James, prior to their divorce. Monica has a daughter the same age as my daughter, and they're best friends. The problem with Anna's story was the Monica and I were at our daughter's dance practice the night that Anna didn't come home. I knew that Monica was at home with her daughter after dance, not out at a bar drinking, so it didn't make sense for Anna to be at her house. I resolved that I'd talk to Anna about it tomorrow and try to get some sleep before the kids would wake up in a few short hours. As I was drifting off, I remembered that we shared our phone locations through a parental controls app we use for our daughter's phone. Frantically opening the app, I could see that her location was in an apartment building several miles away. It was the same apartment building that she had once told me was Dan's building when we were driving past it. For the next 3 hours, I sat on the couch, thinking about what I'd say to her and waiting for her to walk in the house. At 5:30 in the morning, I heard the garage door open. She came stumbling through the door a few minutes later, heavily under the influence and looking like she hadn't gotten any sleep. I asked her where she had been and why she didn't come home that night. She reiterated that she was at Monica's after having too many drinks and that she couldn't have safely driven herself home that night. When I said that I saw Monica at dance and knew she had her daughter with her last night, Anna changed her story and said she was actually at a different coworker/friend's house, Natalie. I replied saying that Natalie lives in a single-family house, but her location showed her in an apartment building. After a pause that lasted what I'm quite confident was several years, I asked, "Are you having an affair with Dan?" To which she simply nodded yes. In the coming weeks, we spent time trying to decide if we could repair things or if our marriage was over. We went to couples therapy, and I went to therapy individually, too. I knew that I didn't love her anymore, but I wanted to have a chance to see if we could make things work so that I didn't lose time with my kids if we were to separate. Anna agreed to give us another chance and told me that she ended things with Dan. She broke things off with him at a coffee shop, not knowing what his reaction would be and wanting to do it in a public place. I spent that night consoling my wife as she went through a breakup with her boyfriend. The following weeks were a roller coaster. Anna and I went on a few dates as we tried to repair things. Each one was awkward, like a blind first date where you know very little about the person and strain for conversation. There were very few highs and a lot of lows. A week later, I heard that Anna was still talking to Dan. I talked to Monica about it, who had learned about the affair at this point, and we decided Monica and her friends from the restaurant would sit Anna down to have an intervention of sorts. I didn't ask details about what they'd discuss with Anna, trusting that they would do what they thought was best to advise Anna. So after an afternoon spent with the family, and on our way home, I pulled our vehicle over in front of Monica's home and told Anna to head inside. Anna quickly saw what was unfolding. She saw her other friends' cars in the driveway. Putting the pieces together that they were there to talk to her, Anna refused at first to go inside, but eventually relented. Anna came home from the intervention undecided on how to proceed. She wanted to think about whether she wanted to be with Dan or I, and we went to sleep. Then, after agreeing to continue therapy and trying to work on our relationship, while also agreeing to stop seeing Dan again, I got a text from an unknown number a week later saying that Anna was still seeing Dan. As I pressed for details, it became clear the mystery texter worked with them, and I knew in that moment that my marriage was over. I had had enough with the lying, cheating, and deception. Mystery texter eventually revealed their identity. As I talked to them, Monica, and other coworkers of Anna, I learned quite a few things about the affair. That it had been happening for more than 6 months, that they were talking about getting married and having kids. I learned that after Anna knew I was checking her location, she would park her car with her phone in it at non-suspicious locations, her work, friends' homes, grocery stores, etc., to make it appear that was doing something legitimate, all the while she was continuing to cheat on me with Dan. Late the evening of finding out from mystery texter that Anna was still cheating, I woke Anna from her sleep and said we were getting divorced. I said I wanted her out of the house ASAP and that we'd figure the rest out later on. In the weeks between the intervention with her friends and us formally separating, Monica and I had been texting quite a bit. All of our texts were about getting advice from her on how to talk to Anna about things, or Monica sharing with me confirmation on days that Anna was working, so that I wouldn't assume Anna was lying and hiding her location by parking at work. The entire conversation stayed within the bounds of me texting my wife's best friend for advice on how to repair my marriage. Following the decision to separate from Anna, I joined a few dating apps. Initially, it was to show Anna that I was serious and moving on, despite my head not being in any place to actually date someone new. One night while the kids were Anna, while I was spending the evening mindlessly swiping right and left, while also texting Monica after she checked in on me to see how I was doing, I decided to ask Monica to get some drinks and talk about how awful Anna had treated both of us. Throughout the affair, Anna had spent a lot of time lying to Monica and lying to me about being with Monica when she actually wasn't, and Monica was hurt by that. The evening with Monica went great. We spent 3 hours talking and laughing, sharing things about each of our exes and how they had treated both of us. Her divorce was further along than mine, so we chatted about that too. I had known Monica for several years at this point, previously as my wife's best friend, so I was enjoying getting to know a different side of her. Several weeks later, Anna finally moved out. She rented a new place and we could finally start moving on with our lives, apart from one another. Since then, life has been a tale of two stories. I've been in a relationship with Monica for 6 months. Finally finding someone that is a good person makes me happy and enjoys being with me. I've lost weight, I work out several times per week, and I completed my first triathlon. I've had a lot of good moments with the kids, doing fun activities and trying new things. Anna got pregnant immediately after moving out. She quit her job ahead of being fired for sexual harassment as she was Dan's supervisor. She bought a new car for Dan and then lost the neat job she had just gotten. News got out that Dan uses cocaine and sells various drugs after he got fired from the restaurant for being high at work. She's lost most of her friends as they found out about the cheating and lying. I'm happy to have moved on and to no longer feel stuck being with someone that's a terrible person. I feel no sympathy for her as she continues to make poor decisions, but I am pained by her still being someone in my kids' lives. Overall, I'm significantly happier than I used to be. TLDR, ex cheats on me for 6 months. We separated and now I'm happily dating her ex-best friend. Ex-wife is pregnant, unemployed, has lost most of her friends, and is dating her drug addict affair partner.